seriously, we're going to talk term limits and we were talking about this before you got on, and you are with U.S. term limits, and there is a House concurrent resolution applying to Congress to propose a constitutional term limit, constitutional amendment. You're asking these people to make themselves obsolete and get off the gravy train. Really?
No, we're not, and that's what's so beautiful about Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution. There's two ways to propose amendments to the U.S. Constitution, and Congress can, if two-thirds of both houses pass an amendment. But their second option that the framers gave us was a way to completely bypass the consent of Congress. And that's what HCR 12 is. This is a state-initiated process, and we need 34 states to pass our application. Once that happens, Congress is the only role Congress has in it is they call the meeting, and then the states will send delegates. The delegates will draft and vote on the amendment, and then the amendment goes back to the states for ratification. Congress cannot interfere with the process, and they have nothing at all to do with it. So we understand term limits, they're never going to pass term limits on themselves, of course, and that's why the state legislators need to do that for the people of New Hampshire.
Okay. So New Hampshire could say, okay, we're going to make it so you could only serve 2 terms in Congress, but Vermont could say, all right, we'll let our people serve 3 terms? I mean, each state could make a determination on how many terms?
No. What they would have to do, you would need 26 states. Let's say all 50 states sent delegates to the convention.
Okay.
They would have to pass an amendment, which would take 26 states, so a majority to pass it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where they'll hammer out the language and will determine how many terms for the Senate and the House they would want to have passed.
Right, so come up with one thing and then I'll ratify it.
Yeah, well, they'll come up with one thing, and then it takes 38 states to ratify it.
Okay.
Now, this is the one issue out in America today that people, a supermajority of the about 75% of the American people want this to happen, and we're talking both sides of the political spectrum.
It's true.
No argument. Oh,
it's
yeah.
True.
I was going to say, if you were ever going to strike, now's the time to do it.
Exactly. In fact, we didn't do it, but a survey was done in New Hampshire this month, and 76% of likely voters, we're talking about a sampling of 400 likely voters, want term limits imposed on Congress. 73% of them want the state legislature to pass this Article 5 resolution to get it done.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to continue educating people, because I think a lot of people have no idea what you're talking about with Resolution 5, and that's why you're here.
Exactly, yeah. And if folks go to termlimits.com, they can learn more about it. What I really need people in New Hampshire to do is, because the committee, the House State Federal Relations and Veterans Affairs Committee, is voting on this tomorrow. And if people go to our Facebook page, New Hampshire Term Limits, and on the post that's pinned up top, there's a call to action that they can click on the link to let those committee members know they support this and want them to pass it.
When you talk to people, is there a consensus on one term, in the case of Congress, 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 15 years? I mean, is there a number, or do they just like the concept of term limits?
Yeah, there's been studies done for a number of years now, and the favorite option would be for 2 terms in the Senate, so that would equal 12 years,
right.
Mm-hmm. And then 3 terms in the House, which would be a total of 6 years. That's what most Americans would like to see.
Okay.
And so we're now in our application, which is HCR 12. We're not determining that. We will let the delegates at the convention determine that language and then pass it, vote on it.
Are we optimistic that we can get something going here?
We really are. Now, our organization has been around since 1992. We have worked on term limits on state legislatures. Like in Maine, we have term limits. We still have 15 states that impose term limits on their legislators. We go all the way down to school boards. So we believe nobody should be in power for life, and so right down to the school boards. Now we just started this process through the states 2 years ago, so we're new to this, but we've already passed it in one state, Florida. We've introduced it in a number of states last year and this year, and there are currently 12 applications already submitted to Congress that contain term limits for Congress in the application. So we're seeing a lot of headway being made on this. And as you said, once people learn more about it, we're going to hit a tipping point, and I think we can get this done fairly quickly.
2/3, trying to get 2/3 of anybody in a room to agree on anything is a big task.
It is. It's definitely a heavy lift. But just to give you an idea, Congress has introduced 12,000 amendments to the U.S. Constitution since 1789. Now, out of that, they've only passed 33, and 27 of those have been ratified, the first 10, the Bill of Rights. All we're seeking is to give the states the exact same opportunity that Congress has taken advantage of 12,000 times. And all this is a discussion. The convention cannot amend it. It can only introduce or propose an amendment. So it's just a recommendation. That's all we're seeking. Let the American people have a chance to decide on this.
Well, and like you said, it sounds like people are in support of that. They want to be part of the process, other than just voting. And the political people say, well, we already have term limits. If you don't want me, just vote me out.
Yeah, I like to compare that to the Matrix, where you take the red or the blue pill. The blue pill, are the folks that believe we have elections for term limits. The reality of it is, the issue is, this is not a party problem; it's an incumbent party problem, and so the permanent political class that has so much power, so much money. They've been in there for 30, 40, some even 50 years, and with all of the insider trading that has been exposed, with the earmarks, the sweet deals, and the raising money for their campaign, you cannot defeat it. The incumbency rate is about 95%, sometimes even higher. It's virtually impossible to vote these people out. So what we want to see is allowing more choices at the ballot box with term limits. That gives people who have better ideas an opportunity to introduce those ideas in Washington. It gives them time to plan, because they know that this seat's going to be open in a couple of years. Because right now, people are afraid to go against the party. They don't think they have a chance, so why bother? This will get a lot of good people from a variety of backgrounds involved in our political system, which we desperately need today.
All right, and you say they're voting on this tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yes, around probably 11 a.m. The committee's going to vote on it. Then it's going to go, we don't know when, but to the House vote. So we really need people to let these committee members know to pass HCR 12. And again, I just direct folks to our Facebook page, New Hampshire Term Limits, and on that pinned post up top, you can get the link to contact them.
Termlimits.com?
Yeah, and that's our website, termlimits.com.
Okay.
So Facebook, New Hampshire Term Limits, and our website is termlimits.com.
There you go. All right, so you're heading over to Vermont now and going to do your magic over there?
I'm going to see what I can do.
Well, all right.
Yeah,
well, look.
I'll be in Concord tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you what. Keep us posted. You got the phone number. Let us know what happens, and give my love to Cumberland County. Even though I was born in Cumberland County, Maine, but raised in Oxford County. Still, that's Bridgeton, Harrison, Naples, a special area for me, and I'm jealous that you get to live there like I did.
I definitely will. Thank you so much. And hey, if you want to come up and ski, man, we got a guest room at our place. Feel free to give me a call.
We may talk, Ken. Thanks, man.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
You are, in fact, a better voter.
Inform, educate, entertain. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Sometimes, entertain.